In the Sri Shankaracharya's Viveka Chudamani, we have studied up to Shloka 88 on the last occasion.
ওই বইটা দাও তো তলায় 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 বইটা ওই যে লাল বইটার তলায় তলায় হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
Okay, I start again. Om Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyam. In Sri Shankaracharya's Viveka Chudamani, we read up to Shloka 88 on the last occasion, and the running topic was that Shishya had asked several questions, and the last of which was, what is the discrimination between self and non-self? And that question has been taken first by the Guru, and he is describing the discrimination. And the first point to discriminate he has taken is the gross body. And he is showing that gross body is not Atman. What is gross body? That is being described in great detail. And there we had in between all the spiritual merits connected with our spiritual journey with the gross body were also discussed. And now we come to Shloka 89. बाह्येन्द्रियै स्थूलपदार्थसेवां स्रक्चन्दनस्त्र्यादिविचित्ररूपां करोति जीवः स्वयमेतदात्मना तस्मात् प्रशस्तिर्वपुषोष जागरे. There are indriyas which tend to go outside, that is bahyendriya. Sthula padartha sevam, gross objects which are amenable to those indriyas, and many objects, padartha sevam. Seva means enjoyment, indulgence, enjoyment. Seva has very different meanings. So here, Sula Padartha Seva means enjoyment of the gross objects, indulgence in the gross objects. What are gross objects? He illustrates to make us understand what he means by gross objects by telling Srag Chandana Stri Adi. Srag means the garland of flowers. It pleases the eyes and it pleases the smell. So, that is an object of enjoyment. Chandana, it smells beautifully and the touch is beautiful. So, that is another common object of enjoyment. And Stri, because this is addressed to Purushas in general, so Stri is being pointed out. If it is addressed to Stri, Purusha will be pointed out. So, that is an object of enjoyment for the gross senses. The enjoyment of Stri or Purusha, as the case may be, involves all the five sense organs plus the mind. So, it is not one sense organ that is satisfied, but all the five sense organs enjoy the woman's body as well as the mind gets fully involved. So, these three are representative objects to include all objects of the gross senses. Adi, and the Adi word is added. And others of this type, others of Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha type, all the external objects are enjoyed by the outgoing senses. Adi Vichitra Rupa, and there is no end to the combination. What one will like is very difficult to judge, especially in the food forms. Every day new recipe. I remember I started remembering my personal life. When I decided to become sannyasi, my brother was in Bombay. When I went to Bombay, he wanted to show me how many types of enjoyments are possible, food-wise. So he knew what special item is prepared in such and such a hotel in Dadar, such and such a hotel in Chowpatty, etc., etc., etc. And some of those things were so obnoxious to me, I could not understand what is the speciality here. I remember one item you might have seen or not, Faluda ice cream. Anyway, so Vichitra Rupam, even about this last enjoyments three, they say beauty is in the eyes of the seer. So what is the beauty? In the eyes of the seer. So all the objects are very peculiar, and yet the senses are enjoying those objects. Vichitra Rupam. As I told, the other way around for these three Purushas, and so many objects endlessly. Clothes we get stitched. And how many these days? Actually, it is hurting the eyes, the type of clothes people wear out of likeness, out of taste. I can't ever understand how they like it. Somebody has put on, so they put on torn clothes, and that has become a fashion. There will be a spot here, a spot there, a tear here, deliberate tear, and that is a good cloth. So here Shankara said, Vichitra Rupa of peculiar, strange forms, and we call it enjoyment. And we call it enjoyment means we enjoy that by the external senses. So how gross body is functioning in our life, how it is not self, and yet we feel it as self, and how it is drowning us in samsara, meaningless, endless. And so this discrimination tells us that is not I. I am 100% bliss. I am Purnananda Swarup. I do not require any of these dirty things to enjoy. So, Sarat Chandana Sri Adi Vichitra Rupam Karoti Jiva. Who is doing this? The I consciousness in man, one who thinks that this think is a poor word, one who is aware of in his knowledge, wrongly aware of that this body, this indriyas, this mind, this ego is me. And so that is called jiva. And this jiva karoti, seva, sula padartha sevam karoti. He goes on enjoying. Swayam etat atmana. By himself he is doing this. Nobody is compelling him to do this. Identifying with this I, with this gross body, Atmana, taking or aware of this gross body as I, he is enjoying. He is enjoying all these objects of terrible forms only because he is identifying himself with this gross body. And that is what has to be discriminated against. Tasmat, prashastir, vapushose jagare. And in the previous shloka, the Jagrati was explained. And when all this goes on, only during the waking state. All these enjoyments are going on during the waking state. When we are sleeping, when we are dreaming, nothing of this world comes there. Our indriyas do not work there. And so, it is only during the waking state that prashasti, prashasti means the praise. This gross body is praised only during the waking state. The gross body is being used for enjoyment. Identification with the gross body is happening only in the waking state. And this is drowning us in samsara. So the discrimination with the gross body has to be done Shankara has pointed out in such a way that automatically a sort of disgust would arise in the mind. Sarvopi vaya sansara purushasya yadashrayah Viddhi dehamidam sthulam gruhavad gruhamedina. He used an illustration. Gruhamedi means an householder. For the householder, there is a house where he stays in the house and enjoys all sorts of things. That is how this body is like a house for the enjoyer, whether he is a householder or whether he is a so-called sannyasi or anaprasti or brahmachari or anybody. But as there is a house for the householder to stay in and enjoy things, so this body is only a house like where we stay and enjoy things outside. So, Sarvopi Bhaya Sansara, the entire external world, Purushasya, for the being, whether male or female here, Yad Ashraya, is with the help of, is with the support of this gross body. The entire universe of transmigration for the soul, for the jiva, is due to the support of this gross body. Vidhi, know this. Dehamidam sthulam, that is called this gross body. That which is the support for the jiva to enjoy the entire world is this gross body. House for the householder, so for the jiva, this is only an abode. This is not his reality. This is not his real nature. He is not this at all. This is only the house-like structure where he stays and enjoys. Sthulasya sambhava jara marana nidharma staulyadayo bahuvida shishuta devastha varnashramaadi niyama bahuda mayasya puja vamana bahumana mukha vishesha. Still further, how he gets hindered, how he gets bound by the gross body is being described. Many things are being described in the Shloka 91. Thulasya of the gross body, Sambhava is possible. Jara Marana is Dharma. Old age, wrinkles, grey hair, this, all this, the signs of the old age is called Jara. That is possible in the gross body. So what becomes old? The gross body. The mind does not become old quickly. Mind wants to enjoy like a young man, but not possible to the gross body has become old. So, where this is possible? Not in the real nature. Where it is possible? In the gross body. What? Old age. Death. Death is only about the gross body. The subtle body in the seed form is carried for the next birth. So there is no death there. But this gross body is subject to death. So death is possible in this gross body. And death means rebirth, rebirth again death, that is possible for the gross body. Jara Maranadi, Maranani or Maranadi, 1 minute. So, in a plural sense, he has said Jara Maran, so there has to be two meanings. Repeated Jara Maran, then only it will make it pure, plural, or if the Maranani is Maranadi, then also it becomes plural. And the types, that type, Janma, etc. Dharma, these are the qualities or characteristics of the gross body. The gross body characteristics are the possible gross body characteristics are old age, death, etc. Staulyadayo. That is also possible for the gross body. What? Fatness. Adi, leanness. I am lean, I am middle, I am fat. All this is possible in the gross body, not in the Atman. So the discrimination is being taught that in my real nature, there is no fatness, obesity, or the other way around. Very lean, no weight. This is not possible in the real nature. It is possible only in the gross body. Staulya means obesity, adi, the opposites, and all other things of this type are possible in the gross body. Bhuvida. So, Bhuvida can be applied to both the previous word and the next word. So, Staulya dayo Bhuvida. Very lean, very thin, little thin. So, these grades are infinite. Very fat, little fat, all this is possible, and you can take the other way around also. Height, very tall, very short, all this is bony, fleshy. So, all these are Bhuvida. So many types are possible in the gross body, not in the real nature of man. Ishutadi avastha. Then this is also gross body, huh? Infant, small child, little bigger child, adolescent, young man, young woman, middle-aged man or woman, old age man or woman, all these avastha are possible in the gross body, not in the real nature of the man. So there is discrimination being taught. Shishuta adi avastha, varnashramadi niyama. According to the old Indian classification, same thing holds in the modern society, though it may not be recognized. These varnas, depending upon the Sattvarajatamaina man, was a great thing recognized in India alone. Outside, Swamiji is telling, we have seen a class or a mass. And these days, a new word has come, even in India, celebrity. Celebrity has become a caste simply because of money, simply because you are playing cricket or hockey or you are acting in a cinema and you get two paisa more than others. You have become a different class. The Indian system is based upon the Sattva Tama Inama, which is far superior classification than this based upon money. Suppose somebody gets a lottery and becomes a millionaire. Tomorrow he change caste. Another form of caste, modern, I will tell you. I remember going to a public school at Chandigarh, and the principal was telling, our class 4 people, I said, are the people class 4? Or you are giving salary, lowest salary class 4. You have salary grades of 4 types. You cannot make man of 4 types by that salary. But this has become a new caste. Salaried people. And in salaried people, it's a higher middle class and lower middle class. Simply salary. 4th class employees. Oh, it hurt me so much that day. I remember even today, maybe 20 years back. And I told the principal, are you making a new caste? Previously, we used to say Shudra, name went on changing, Harijan, Girijan, and Dalita, and so many things, Asprusha, and you are making a new caste. So there was a great book written, I don't remember the author now, Mirage of a Classless Society. So this is called Varna. And every varna has its own rule. What a beggar enjoys freedom that a man of this celebrity cannot do. He has to behave in that way in the society. So, varna, dharma, that means niyama, the rules prescribed for that varna. Ashrama, ashrama means there were distinctly marked ashramas which are not there now. There was a disciplined brahmacharya life. There was the householder's responsible life. There was the vanaprasthi preparatory life, and there was the sannyasa, the renunciation life. And each set had its niyamas. Nowadays, do we have these niyamas? You have to judge yourself. So, essentially, according to the this all soul body, this, whether it is varnas or ashramas, is due to stool body. And then respective rules come into play. By whatever name you can find them, varna, ashrama, adi. Then within that, this caste, that caste, and so many other differences will be there, and there will be rules for each type, social rules. Bahuda, that also of various types. Amaya Syu. Amaya means sickness, physical sickness, mental sickness also due to cross body sometimes. So these are all various diseases. Then some more things due to cross body. Puja, people are worshipping you, they are giving you a higher seat to sit upon, they are respecting you, they are respecting the gross body, not you. They are respecting the gross body, showing respect to the gross body, your real nature is untouched. In the Mahabharata, a great example is given. Vyasa sent his son Shuka to Janaka, and Janaka's guards took no notice of this great celebrity in those days. And this boy sat at the gate for 8 days without being cared for. And then suddenly the ministers came and everybody came and received him and gave him anointed baths and good clothes and carried him to the court with great respect. And there was no change in him. There was absolutely no change in this boy. So they do not belong to our real nature, they belong to this body. Puja, avamana. If puja is there, the other side is there. Somebody will insult you. Somebody is insulting the gross body, not you. The insult cannot reach your real nature. That is how the discrimination is being taught. Bahumana. If not puja, then great respect somebody is showing to your gross body. Mukha means chief. These are the chief things. But like this, Vishesha, special treatments, Bahuda. Many special treatments of low or high type in which these are the main things, puja, disrespect, respect, etc. That is all belongs to the gross body. So in this shloka, many things are told about the gross body in such a way that they are not to the real nature of the man. Up to this, mind you, those who want to remember classifications, this is up to this is the gross body. Discrimination is being taught, and starting from '72, 72 up to 91 is the discrimination between the self and the gross body. And now we turn to another discrimination between the self and the subtler body. That body subtle means which is not perceived from outside. That is the subtle body. So what is subtle body? How many parts it has? What is each other's function? How they are not the real nature of man? What are the good and bad things in that? None of them belong to the real nature of man. That topic of discrimination between the self and not self, the part of the not self being taken is the subtle body, starts from 92. बुद्धीन्द्रियाणि श्रवणं त्वगक्षि घ्राणं च जिह्वा विषयावबोधनात् वाक्पाणिपादा गुदमप्युपस्था कर्मेन्द्रियाणि प्रवणेन कर्मसु बुद्धीन्द्रियाणि ज्ञानेन्द्रियas is called buddhindriyas, that which give us perception. First is hearing, because akasha is the most subtle element. So first is this ears, second touch. Vayu is the second comparatively gross element, and so Vayu quality is touch. We understand Vayu we understand by our touch. Touch is an organ which we do not see outside. The skin is a place where the organ sits. This is the place, socket, where the organ of hearing sits. It is not the organ itself. So now we are describing the subtle body. The skin is the seat where the organ of touch sits, that we do not see at all. Akshi, eyes, these are again, in some people will see the eyes are perfectly all right and the man is blind because the Chakshur Indriya is not working. So the organs are the inner things not seen outside, and they are being described. Granam, similarly smell. The nose is the socket in which the Indriya of smell sits. Jiva, tongue is the location or socket where the taste sits. Vishayava Bodhanat. They help us. Why they are called Buddhindriyani? Because they reveal the different objects to us. Perception is being exactly described as they reveal to our consciousness the different objects. Vishaya Avabodhanat, they are called Buddhindriyani. Then other set of Indriyas, that also outside is only the location where they sit, and the first among them is Vak. Tongue is the location for both, for taste as well as speech. So speech is the first karmendriya, action, speaking, pani, hands, pada, legs, gudam, the organ of excretion, api upastha, the other organ inside, karmendriyani, they are the organs of action. Why they are called like that? Pravanena karmasu. Karmasu pravanena, they are karmendriyani. Vishaya Bodhanat, they are buddhindriyani. That is their construction. They are expert in doing something, karmasu. Because they are expert in doing something, they are always doing something. Their main thing is to do something. So they are called karmendriyas. And these are all inside the body, not seen from outside. Outside we see only the sockets they are working. So the description of subtle body has started, and the count is now Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Nigadyatenta Karanam Manodhir, Ahankruti Chittamiti Svavrittivi, मनस्तु संकल्प विकल्पनादिभिर बुद्धि पदार्थात् व्यवसाय धर्मता अत्राभिमानात् अहमिति अहंकृति स्वार्थानुसंधान गुणेन चित्तम निगद्यते is called, is described antakaranam, the inner organ. These are all outside organs, not means outside in the body. They are the outer organs, means tendency of going outside to enjoy objects or doing work. So they are called the external organs. Compared to them, there is an inner organ. Antakaranam, inner organ. Now, it has four functions. One inner organ has four functions. Roughly, the whole thing is called mind sometimes. Roughly, the whole thing is called chitta sometimes. But it is one thing which has four functions. Mano, Di, Ankruti, Chitta. These are the four functions. Mind, he is describing what is mind, but the names are like this: mind, buddhi, ego, and the tranquil state of the mind. I don't know. Here, in English, chitta is translated as chitta. I don't know what is the correct English equivalent of this. So I said, the tranquil state of the mind, or the base of the mind stuff, that is chitta. These all four functions belong to one inner instrument. Now he describes Manastu Sankalpa Vikalpanadivi. Mind is cogitating. Mind is always tossed up into this or that. If some idea arises in the mind, immediately the alternate idea or the opposite idea arises in the mind. That is Sankalpa Vikalpa. Sankalpa, some idea, Vikalpa, the opposite idea or an alternate idea. This is how the mind functions. Now here we have to find something more. Thinking, feeling, will, imagination, in every faculty of the mind is there. In every faculty of the inner organ, it is not only about thinking, it is about feeling. Love and hate, that is in the mind. Shall I do this? Shall I not do this? That is in the mind. Imagination, this or that, that is in the mind. So, all these things are the functions of the mind, that is called mother in particular. Then, one word I missed in the second line. Nigadyate antakaranam manodir ankruti chittam iti swavrittivi. According to their functions, they are the four names. They are the four instruments in four functions of the same instrument, because the four names are given four different types of waves or four different types of functions. So there are four. And we have seen the mind, sankalpa, vikalpana, adi. We, buddhi, padartha, adhyavasaya, dharmatha. Padartha. In last one of the shlokas also the word had come. But here I want to explain the meaning, because sometimes I have done that. Vastu, reality, is applied only to Brahman. The entire universe is called Padartha, the meaning of a word. Whether it is real or not, we have not checked. And we find nothing is real here. But we use a word and the meaning comes out. So it is Padartha. Now, relatively, what this padartha is, there comes a state of the mind which says, yes, it is like this. That is called adhyavasaya. A definite conclusion comes, it changes also later on. But for the time being, whether I like this or not, I like. Whether this is blue or green, oh, this is blue. Whether is my friend or not is my friend. Whether this is a wall or a door, oh, it is a wall. So this temporarily, a sort of fixity comes, adhyavasaya, that is the function of buddhi. Buddhi, this pros and cons thinking, we call buddhi, but that is mind. Thinking of pros and cons is the function of the mind, whether in thinking, feeling, will, in everything. Important point, please. What we call buddhi in our language is not the buddhi told by Shankaracharya here or used by the scriptures. Only when a conclusion is reached, that mental wave, that mental function which comes to a conclusion is called buddhi. So long as we are thinking, that is mind. When we come to a conclusion, to come to a conclusion requires a different type of the wave in the mind stuff. And so, this is the second instrument functioning in the inner organ, and that second function is coming to a conclusion in whatever respect it may be. Shall I do like this? Shall I not do like this? That is mind. I will do like this. It may change later on, but temporarily a resolution, a nishchaya, a conclusion is reached. That is the function of buddhi. What is the final function of buddhi? In ignorance, I am a jiva. Let us not think of it immediately now. So, a temporarily conclusive state is arrived by a particular function of the padartha, adhyavasaya dharmata. Dharmata means the characteristics is adhyavasaya. Characteristics of coming to a conclusion temporarily of padartha is the function of the buddhi. Atra abhimanat ahamiti ahamkriti. Atra abhimanat. Atra means about this gross body. Atra means about this mind. Atra means about this buddhi. Abhiman. Abhimanat. That means due to identification with this. What is the form of identification? Aham. I am this body, I am these indriyas, I am this mind, I am this function of the mind. This is another function of that inner instrument. What we think I is a type of function of mind which identifies itself with this gross or subtle body and calls it I. Atra abhimana, due to that ahamkriti, it is called ego. Ahamiti identifies in the form of I. Because of that, it is called ego ahamkriti. Atra abhimana. Identifying this as I myself. It is not our real nature, but wrongly, you may add the word wrongly, identifying with this as myself, that is the ego. Yeah. Sometimes when you think of this ego, A funny idea comes to my mind. Now, these days, there is a current word, job satisfaction. I think it is ego satisfaction. That's all. Anyway, then Swarthanusandhana Gunena Chittam. There is a function in the inner organ which remembers things of its own interest. Swarthanusandhana. Anusandhana means bringing them back. Here, Anusandhana means bringing that back to the surface. This is a function of the inner instrument, and what it brings back, that which it wants to bring back. There is maybe a store of infinite sanskaras in us, but sometimes very painful sanskaras. Somehow we like to indulge in that and say, oh, this happened, that happened. We like that. We like the painful things as well as sweet things. So, what one is interested in, that bringing back Swartha Anusandhana Gunena, because of this quality, it is called Chitta. So, four things he told, and why these four names? For that each Hetu is given in one line. So, Chittam is Swartha Anusandhana Gunena. Remembering things it is interested in. So, it is called Chitta. So, after describing the Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas, he is describing now the inner organ which is called the mind, and that is being described here. So, next, still more parts of the subtle body. प्राणापान व्यानो दान समान भवत्यसौ प्राणः स्वयमेव वृत्तिभेदात् विकृतिभेदात् सुवर्ण सलिलादिवत् स्वयमेव वृत्तिभेदात्. That means there is another thing in the subtle body called prana, the vital energy function, not air, the vital energy function, because of which this term vitamins came into existence. When the vital functions go down, we use vitamins. So there is one vital energy, it functions in 5 ways. Swayameva Vritti Vedat, because of the 5 different functions, it undergoes 5 names we get. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, Bhavati. Aso Prana. This Prana gets 5 names by itself having different functions. Vikruti Veda. It undergoes modification. Due to its undergoing modification and due to its different functions, it has got 5 names. One thing, the vital energy, due to its different functions and due to its undergoing modifications, gets these 5 names. Suvarna Saliladivat, external world example is giving gold ornaments. Ornaments are nothing but gold, not only ornaments, gold images of God, gold, golden pen. So all is gold only. But the forms, modifications, functions are different. So we give them different names. Gold stud, gold couplings, gold chain, etc., etc. And water, we call it foam, wave, bubble, nothing but water. In the same way, this one prana, because it undergoes modifications and because it has 5 functions, it is given 5 names. He has not described here the 5 different functions. We'll come across that and better. When we come across that to describe, if we want to know what we exhale is called prana, not the air, but the function of the lungs which throws out wind is called prana function. The function of the lungs which draws air in and sends it through the stomach downwards is called apana. The function of the vital energy which pumps blood to the end of the body and brings it back, that is called the Vyana function. Function of the vital force which pumps every second or whatever that fraction blood up to the tip of the nails, hands, feet, everywhere throughout the body and brings it back for purification. That is called Vyana. Udana. Udana daily function or habitual function is what we call hiccup. But it has the great function only in the transmigration. It carries the all these seed of these subtle elements to the next body. That is Udana. Every day when we trace its existence, it is the hiccup. Samana. Samana is that function of the vital force which digests food. Food digestion means we take so many things and then they are converted into blood, bones, marrows, flesh, fat. How this comes about? Somebody is not sitting in us. There is a function of the vital force. So the same vital force has this function, it is called samana. And because of this, it is getting these names. Vagadi pancha, Shravanadi pancha, Pranadi pancha, Abramukhani pancha, Buddhyadi avidyapicha, Kama karmani, Kuryashtakam sukshma shariram ahu. So here, 96, from 92 has started the description and has completed here and is telling this is called this sukshma sharira. What is it called? Vagadi pancha. The 5 karmendriyas. Shravanadi pancha. The 5 jnanendriyas. Pranadi pancha. The 5 vital forces described up till now. Abramkhani pancha. Abra means Akash or space actually. There is no English term for that. Akash, the primordial state of matter, the subtle element of matter. One day we have tried to explain it. So the subtlest indiscrete matter is Akasha, and then slightly grossified matter is Vayu, slightly more grossified matter is light or Teja, slightly more grossified matter is taste, that water element, slightly still more grossified state of matter is earth, which gives us smell. So these are subtle elements present in our body from which the mind is made. From these, the karmendriyas are made. When these combine, it was told in a shloka, when these combine, they become gross and the gross body is made. So this Abramkhani Pancha. Buddhyadi Avidya Picha. Buddhyadi means Mana Buddhi Chitta Ahankar were described. So these 4 avidya picha, the wrong knowledge which you have, the wrong consciousness which you have. Kama karmani, which gives rise to desires. And we do some action. So count now, groups of 5, huh? We are not to count it 5. A group, karmendriyas, another group, jnanendriyas, another group, vital forces, another group, subtle elements, another group, the 4 antakaranas, another group, another factor is the wrong knowledge, another factor is the desires as a group, another factor is the definite activities which are done. These are 8 groups. Puri Ashtakam. Puri Ashtakam. There are 5 towns like. The Karmendriyas have their own system, Jnanendriyas having their own system. So these are 8 systems located in what is called the subtle body. So subtle body has been described from Shloka 92 to 96. The description will continue. Its functions and how we wrongly identify with that, and how it is not our real nature, how that is only a non-self or non-real, that has to be gradually described in a fantastic, forceful way. Shankara is describing discrimination. The last of the questions asked by the Shishya, discrimination is being taught between the self and the non-self. The description of the gross body as non-self was concluded in 91, and 92 to 96 were read up till now. It is still continuing the description of the subtle body as not self, the distinction between the self and the subtle body. That is the topic continued, and we'll continue it on the next term. Om Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanam.